Alright, scientific notation is just a notation used to write very large numbers or very small numbers. It has the following form. Alright, some number, and that number has to be between 1 and 10, but not equal to 10. So greater than 1 but less than 10. So some number between 1 and 10, this is the symbol for multiplication, not the variable x. So some number between 1 and 10 times 10 raised to some integer exponent. The exponent up here can be any integer. Alright, that's the form, so let's look at some examples. Alright, this first one, 2.5 times 10 squared. Now, for all of these with scientific notation, we're just multiplying some number by a power of 10. So really what that means is just our decimal point is going to move, either to the right or either to the left. Alright, so let's figure that out. We have 2.5 times 10 squared. The exponent here on the 10 is a positive 2. That means that we need to move our decimal point 2 places, and we're going to move it to the right 2 places. So this would equal 200, and if we move the decimal one place, then move it again, you got to add on a 0 there. This would be 250. So 2.5 times 10 squared is just a fancy way to write the number 250. Now in reality, you probably wouldn't do that, but the scientific notation is used when your numbers are really large, and you would not want to write them out with 15 zeros out here. Alright, so let's look at the next one. 3.14 times 10 to the 5th. Again, our exponent is positive. Make note that when our exponent on our 10 is positive, then we're talking about relatively large numbers. As opposed to when our exponent is negative on our 10, then we're talking about really small numbers. Alright, so kind of keep that in mind. That'll help you figure out which way the decimal point goes. Alright, so 3.14 times 10 to the 5th means we need to take this decimal point and move it 5 places to the right. So 1, 2, and then we need to put in 3 zeros. So we have 3, 1, 4, and then 3 zeros. So really that's 314,000, which is a relatively large number. Alright, now what about this one down here? 7.2 times 10 to the negative 4th. Alright, so the exponent on the 10 is a negative 4. So that means we need to take our decimal point and we're going to move it to the left 4 units. So we go 1, and then we need to put in 3 zeros. Now this is going to be a really small number, so we need to have a point and then 3 zeros and then the 7, 2. So this is just the scientific notation to write 0.00072, which is a really small number. Now I know in a previous video you learned that when you have negative exponents, you want to write them so that the exponents are positive. About the only time we do not do that is during scientific notation. Using scientific notation, if your exponent up here is negative, you just want to leave it as a negative, because that helps us figure out how to convert over here to standard notation. Okay, by the way, these things that we have the notation we have over here on the left is obviously called scientific notation, while the notation we have over here on the right, that is called standard notation. Alright, so this is converting something that's in scientific notation into standard notation. What about the other way? Suppose we have a number in standard notation and we want to write it in scientific notation. Alright, so the first thing we want to make note of is, where is the decimal point? Find the decimal point first. Well, in this first case here, the decimal point is located right here at the very end. And this number is actually, what, 2,310,000,000. That's a relatively large number. Alright, so we want to move our decimal point so that it is in between those first 2 digits, between the 2 and the 3, because that would give us a number that is between 1 and 10. So the question is, how many places do we have to move the decimal point? Alright, so here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 places we have to move that decimal point. Alright, so in scientific notation we have 2.31 times 10. And since this is a very large number, this exponent on the 10, the 9, is going to be a positive number. Everybody see that? All right. So let's look at this one down here. Locate the decimal point. And we say, oh, this is a really small number. So we need to move the decimal point so that it's in between these two digits right here, because that would, between 5 and 4, because that would give us a number that ends up being between 1 and 10. So the question is, how many places do we have to move it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, so we're going to move the decimal point 6 places so that we can get 5.4. And then we have to multiply that times 10 to what exponent? Since this is a really small number and we moved it 6 places, it's to the negative 6. And that's the scientific notation of 0.000054. All right, so scientific notation is used quite a bit in, say, like astronomy, or maybe even microbiology or something, where the numbers are really, really large or the numbers are really, really small. All right, hope that helps. Study well. Please let me know if you have any questions.